Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American supernatural horror film from 2018, titled The Witch in the Window. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. Beverly is at her breaking point with the world since Trump's presidency, but her main concern is her 12-year-old son, Finn. As he enters adolescence, his behavior is becoming increasingly challenging. Recently, Finn accessed the internet without permission, forcing him to grow up too quickly for his parents' liking. His father, Simon, may have a temporary solution. Simon makes a modest living by buying, renovating, and selling houses, and his latest project in rural Vermont needs an extra pair of hands, and he thinks Finn can help with the renovations. Simon has a secret motivation for renovating the house. He hopes to win Beverly back and rebuild their broken family. When they arrive at the property, a mysterious woman is seen in the upper window, but she quickly disappears. Inside, Finn is intrigued by a door at the stairs, and as they discuss their plans in the kitchen, they fail to notice the woman is now standing outside the house. In the barn, Finn suggests converting it into a movie theater, but Simon has other plans. He wants to turn it into a stable for horses, knowing how much Beverly loved and owned a horse when she was growing up. Simon leads Finn to his new room, which looks familiar. It's identical to his old room back in New York, filled with all his favorite toys. They notice a strange chair sitting in the hallway, and Simon points out a small crack in the window. Despite the familiar surroundings, Finn can't shake the feeling that something is off in this old house. As Simon and Finn head to the utility room to inspect the pipes, the lights suddenly go out, plunging them into darkness. They fumble for their flashlights, and are startled by a man, the electrician Simon had contacted earlier. The man introduces himself as Lewis, and also their neighbor, whose house is a quarter-mile down South Street. Lewis shares a chilling tale about the house's previous owner, Lydia, a rumored witch who allegedly murdered her husband and son using a hay baler. Lydia would sit in the upstairs window every day, staring out at something from morning till night, until one day, they found her dead in her chair. In the night, as they are preparing for bed, Finn notices Simon taking medication and learns about his heart condition. As Finn tries to sleep, he is kept awake by strange noises in the walls and catches a glimpse of a woman in the mirror. The next morning, Simon and Finn discover a dead crow in the chimney, but they shrug it off and continue their renovation work. That night, while replacing a light bulb, Simon hears strange noises coming from the hallway. He quickly grabs a lamp stand for protection and turns off the bulb before going to investigate. However, it's just Finn, who tells Simon about his strange vision of a woman. Finn believes the house might be haunted, and that the ghost of Lydia might be taunting them. When Simon asks if they should leave the house, Finn says he isn't scared. Simon tells him he'll leave his room door open in case Finn encounters anything strange, and they go to their rooms. Finn struggles to sleep, disturbed by the creaks and groans echoing through the walls. He notices something strange moving in a frame and hastily flees his room, seeking refuge in his dad's bedroom. The next morning, Finn wakes up to his dad's tale about encountering Lydia's ghost, but as Finn sits up in bed, he realizes his dad is nowhere to be seen. To his horror, he looks out the window and sees Simon outside, shaping woods, making Finn wonder who he was just talking to in the room. Simon and Finn bond in the barn while making repairs, discussing about Finn's issues. However, Simon's anger flares up when he discovers Finn has been researching violent topics. As their connection deepens, Simon decides to come clean with Finn. He reveals that he never intended to sell the house, despite his first claims. Just then, the lights throughout the house suddenly went off, and they head downstairs to investigate but find nothing out of the ordinary. Simon tells Finn to grab some clothes for a lunch outing, but Finn returns downstairs with a worried expression on his face. Simon follows Finn upstairs and is shocked to see Lydia's ghost sitting in her chair, gazing out the window. Finn tries to capture evidence by taking a picture, but she didn't appear in the camera's view. Lydia, pretending to be asleep, suddenly opens her eyes and lets out a blood-curdling scream, shouting "Stay!" as Simon and Finn rush to the car. As they speed away, they glance back to see Lydia watching them from the window, and her ghostly form is now in front of the house. At a local restaurant, Simon orders pizza, but him and Finn are still traumatized from their experiences. In the car, Simon calls his wife Beverly and tells her he'll send Finn back to New York, citing the unsafe conditions in the house. Despite his own fears, Finn refuses to leave his dad's side, preferring to stay with Simon rather than return to his mom. Simon insists he'll stay in the house alone, and reveals he knows how to cope with the paranormal activity. Still frightened from the experience, Simon and Finn drive to Lewis's house, to spend the night with him and his son. Lewis tells Simon he has seen Lydia's ghost in the window, which caused him to experience a sleepwalk, and he warns Simon that fixing the house is making Lydia's ghost stronger. Simon thinks he can make the house good again, and admits that he bought the house to win back his wife. The next day, Simon puts Finn on a bus back to Beverly in New York, before returning to the house to resume his repair work. As he begins working in the cottage, to his surprise, he sees Finn has returned back to the house, who claimed that he stepped off the bus as soon as Simon drove away. Although initially upset, Simon and his son reconcile as their bonding continues, and Finn reveals that Simon is his favorite person. Their heartwarming moment is disrupted when Simon receives a call from Beverly. Simon becomes terrified when Beverly tells him that Finn arrived safely and is at home with her. Simon asks to speak to Finn, and his worst fears are confirmed when he hears Finn's voice on the other end of the line, leaving him stunned and petrified. The false Finn turns out to be Lydia and chases Simon outside of the house. Simon runs to his car but discovered he has forgotten the keys inside, and he runs to Lewis's house for help. He asked Lewis for his truck or phone, but Lewis revealed he can't help him, and tells Simon he is still inside the house, before smashing the bottle he is holding on Simon's head. Simon wakes up on the staircase, grab his car keys and exit the house once more. From his car, Simon sees himself pounding on a window inside the house, and Lydia suddenly appears in the passenger seat, causing Simon to take the place of his doppelganger inside the house. Simon flees the house again, but Lydia appears to him as Beverly. She presents him with a choice: leave and return to his unfulfilling life, or stay and take her place, which would liberate her. Simon chooses to stay, but insists on completing the renovations. As Lydia's presence continues to haunt his mind, Simon calls Beverly, who reveals that Finn is struggling with nightmares. She also acknowledges Simon's attempt to win her back through the house, but she implies she isn't willing to get back together. As the calls end, Simon and Lydia look at each other as they sit in adjacent chairs in the window, and Simon tells Lydia, "Okay." Meanwhile, Lewis awakens from his sleepwalking trance to find himself standing in front of Simon's house. He looks up to see Simon's lifeless body slumped in the chair by the window. After Simon's funeral, Beverly and Finn return to the house, where Finn discovers a heartfelt note from his father: "It's a good house again. If you want it, I haven't left, I never will." The camera pans out to show Lydia walking alone in New York City, hinting that she's finally free. Back at the house, Beverly and Finn decide to stay, and as they settle in, they both feel an unexpected sense of peace. As Finn drifts off to sleep, he bids his father a gentle goodnight. In the silence that follows, a faint knocking sound echoes within the walls, hinting that Simon's spirit remains, and is watching over them, and the movie concludes. Okay guys, that's all the recap about The Witch in the Window from 2018. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.